Awi adam asese wunya bretwa ma yekoto nkraya bai ebra so say yetena sena fe yedi nkomo na ye hwese ne masi ekon but ansa na eno baba so no ene matade am shei perfect man ha on wa perfect me sa no wo ma me ho afefe sei na perfect man obi a ye kanta de shemu a say ye de am shei insetia short sleeves and say satintin kaftan papa any casual wears ahodo ne the other parties any me ahodo nyina no perfect man womo na epimpam na mo pam so a womo epam ne yie e ma ne ye fe etumi fiti o kama womo pam bebre asensen wo colors ahodo bebre designs bebre nto kwa na what choose there no be say yes opam sen ha na bo so watumi address bi na why ye kama se ne me damu yupo ya me deti he ya me de ye program it perfect man for no pay Madam was say, Obi baby say, and for no so be near Biato. Woko say Phillips Enterprise, a wood to do a Obinya womo and woho. Na womo ucha fire station, fire service for no womo was like ucha waka crebia, who say St. Phillips Enterprise a woho. Na womo Korean so or done at Trotro Station on a Obinya omo. Now, womo money fancy, a month for 2 so to kwajo dear na ansa enyaw. Bibi obekubia no ye we say up and down say so original ho a bo say efe papa enti bo modern asa won so no be din sa wo so na entare papa yi wotumi anya bi ato jomo number na frɛ o man na so kɔ ne kokɔgye wo de 0244 147212 0244 147212 na ebeboa ama won so why ye fe ene Dr. Kwabena Dapa Siakwan Dr. Kwabena Dapa Siakwan ene wanyemfie de oson enti jensiamo abusua eku ewo kuma se friends abusua eku ewo kuma se homes fo ewo kuma se prempe kefi crab fo ewo kuma se ena the almighty concern for yen nyina e kan bom ama happy birthday Dr. Kwabena Dapa Siakwan ene yen nyina ye de anunyam eba betawachi concern for ye bani memam enti doctor no pa bia obi a no e mo ache ne owura Charles Boachi say oba ye be hwe na ne application no ye concern for ya hwe na ye yetumi ayi ne tententem na watumi abadwani konti doc anopai my happy birthday sanso and otin ejewa better awo adum cool store wa my 7 market to say wa woda nti wabusuafo ne wadofo nyina say omo my happy birthday sanso and me maybe so ene woda Sir John the late Sir John na nanom na me kan na nkwada no ba ko di maame ya na fe mama ya na fe papa ya omo twins when you feel so ene na omo ku school wo female severe school a wo dansoman enti ene mo mama akosua ne abusuani nyina me ankasa nso be ka ho bi mama ya na fe papa ya na mo nyina happy birthday wati actually mo beteme nka pa mo beteme nka no mati ni ye nso pa all right and no pay Mame Emma Dr. John Kwachi. Woko Aya Bono ena woye Director of Research edema Aye na ye kan sikasemu tutu yen so a wa bin papa ene osande ne mra mayen se ye mra ne ye bobo o ma yisi kasem se de sitie ene ho ensamsem enti ye de ne hyase na fe ya to aso I think about a week or two ago na oni ye on dog ye makwa babio that's pa anso no wo mre that's papa na ene ya sompa anso ebeba ona so abampo dada anche wono so medanadi na fe ya hwese de si kwankasa pa dog last week e di nkomo no cancer no men's kasem si de si tie se de ne mesi ko ene de sese ye ene ye kansem bebre na watwe mu yenya ne tie se companies ahodo bi multinational companies ahodo bi na nka omo Ghana ha womo eboa na nka yeso ye ne matumi agina no womo free ha ko Doc, yeti and me say me me share me kakra. Me san say eba ne saa ade emu yi kakra ye won no kra na nso yen na bi be free mu akọ no. San sem epie say san krofo no multinational companies na eko no. Psychologically no investors e de ne benya e wo boso. And I say isikasam say ye person investors e ba no. Signal be na send e de ma wo.
Okay. If me read that story, as an economist, na just a hammer, because naturally, obia pese companies be investing in your country, create jobs, and incomes, na economy expanded. But say almost started say almost qua, na just a hydrogen because be affect economy, one more year, you may lose all my jobs, crop be lose all my incomes. Into eventually be my economy no akọ form. And nientia or more corner there maybe individual companies no obia woni reasons. Yeah, obia woni reasons. But say we share economy now as a whole. Make I say in the past few years, just economy any that stable, roller coaster. I would say just recover from COVID. Ukraine, Russia war there is still there. The effects are still there, but recover from COVID. I do baby. In fact, in terms of growth, you could do baby 2021. But since then, back from kakra, and this is because say government on the IMF program you stabilize the economy. To stabilize it, government expenditure and cry interest rates are cost of credit cost exchange rate and so and just stable now saying depreciate and when we and then of course there are other business obstacles in the way of businesses. High cost of credit. It be complaining about high taxes, any multiple taxes, utility tariffs. In fact, Ghana, energy costs, it's a tariffs, relatively, high. And then infrastructure, companies, there's infrastructure, say transportation, infrastructure, ICT, internet, say availability, access, and I feel the cost also. Yes. So transportation, any good enough. Just companies just are crying and be concentrating because they call further inland transportation is a problem. Country, virtually you need railways. I be cutting them up and down. And just obstacles, they all come together. Macroeconomic instability, infrastructure issues, high cost of credit, high taxes, multiple taxes. It's a business environment, but country beyond you compete with others. It's almost compare almost say Ivory Coast, for instance, conditions are much better. We share general macroeconomic situation on there, infrastructure. Once you are competing with them, some of the companies will move. Let's hope say a bit to stabilize the economy still under the IMF program. Now and I improve kakrana. You bet to attract some more companies into the country. But what is going on now? They are a bit disturbing.
You can't say numeko bakwa metiye na yemuhye mepaye adwumaku a ye friend na omo ye pen ye big omo industrial area here na wo hwe adwumayefo a ewo ho a enya adwumayefo keto a wo hwe adwumaku bi tse Nivea omo roll on niama ye de ye ho omo eka ho wo hwe Dark and Lovely have been in Ghana for very long time. De mu ye nwia ati nko edi ye nwini nasefo so mo ekọ any other way so mo kọ no a wo hwe a big for instance say go back to their mother which is La Côte d'Ivoire go back sanka anka ne emu a sanka Côte d'Ivoire na sanka betuma ye de abaha And so on be a branch wa. Meaning say, Omo Yama Yansu de no bona from kakra. Se ya ma omu kwino. Se kobaso mo kwampa ne ampa no mo kwampa. Omo ye pen wo ho wi a age se ye kofa ho e de ba. Additional cost because e be import duty ni na se for transportation ni na se for nyina. Doc, you bet you who be as we speak. Said the bear, additional bed, you know, and concoba.
Well, Sanya Mekayano, companies no be a share the relatives says a profit. I hear I'm a position me what menya more profit because companies will be a person maximizing a profit. When we costs no higher, operational costs no higher, naturally, no, it may affect your profits. And until now, almost relocate, you know. But now me just say even within the bigger context of after, no, say within Africa, no, again, where we are located, no, obey me. The whole market, no, African markets, no, are available to you. You have access. Okay. But still, no, ube located in a country, cost of production, much lower. Even though you are accessing the African market, no, so you are competing with others. And naturally, no, rational, say, business, no, ube relocated. Maybe temporarily. Just it looks like Ghana and say, you know, send economy in it, you're losing your relative competitiveness with respect to any African country, but some of them, you're losing Sadian because of conditions I woman. It will take some time, and you recover, you come out of these the condition I woman with IMF program in place, no near there. And immediately, no dear, just I don't believe that there's anything much I bet me firefighting near there, but let's continue to stabilize the economy, and they're very important. Now the costs number for more, because interest rates here too high, 30-something%. Inflation, crano, say cry ain't made the above for do 25 now. Next door, Ivory Coast, some there 5%. Currency depreciation, and you say affected business. A create uncertainty for them. They can't planning, almost planning ahead there. Just a plan is a be a maybe now well located scabit. In terms of cities, no. Over next time, next just so topping up. A create uncertainty for them. And macroeconomic instability, no. And only the main problem, as you say, you're facing. But as I said, no, it will take a while because now we are consolidating on the IMF program. No, debt, no, is supposed to come down. Government deficit, exchange rate, and we say, but it will take time.
The doctor say it will take time. Now, time they be taking and maybe be introduce you Yasumpa, lawyer ni ono krianso ye keskase mu ono so waben enti ono so beboa ma yetumi adi we hu komo kakra ya wakwa aba
eja
wi aboko
nyame na no eja wata de yefe
perfect man the pan ma me enti bram na ba be ma perfect man for mo on we say up and down enti no e kama pa which pressure ko be help bia o se ma effect enti bi na se ya hwe nansi akwa na ye menya enti ye say I think say no kore. We are yet to verify to see say yampa na say Bank of Ghana be introduce some new tax bi say
cyber security
1% cyber security levy on all banking transactions.
Okay.
Yaw baby away never easy. Only businessmen, any businesses won't yet, especially one more a craniama. Me what fasibi kra afidie mani bedru tema. Na ankese say uchia 300 and something thousand now or declare. One would say one train after on train now omra after some days. Okoye no na akokodu 430 something thousand Ghana cedis. No, almost be 60-70,000 Ghana cedis. And abeka ho. Obako nso de ono nso okwaye okwakoyi no ono de waye bibia wi okwakoyi no na 12,000 asan ababeka ho. And it's like it's only person dot kind no. Only pan to me and plan it. Because and then me the idea never say baby in 10 cedis abeka on 12 cedis. Or change 13 cedis. It no they be obi adwuma ni hey ya pɛ de ekoso yi ene said the name siko ene nkrofo yi so omo kwe ana. I am a woman put na yom so omo kwe na e say doc can say stabilization of the city no economy no. You better stabilize man ayi.
Eja me da say mecha atie for ne ahwefo. Eja I think BOG story now they start here and they've debunked it almost say correct.
Okay.
We know say in Nigeria na I introduce BBC.
Okay.
So just to set the context right. Ejampacho meshe say ubeti men common ye kakra. Mpembe brain no ye can the senior ye economy ni business aya ye de ni nyina akoshe COVID ni Ukraine
Russia.
And from baby they be amakasa no correct. But I want to start the conversation from World Bank for ease of doing business. Ease of doing business no out of 190 economies that we are say here baby say oye business wo ho no eyefo and eyeha the last data set 2020 but they published it in 2020 but data set near 2019 data into before say COVID beba no what was the ease in doing business in Ghana we are near COVID by and where are we and then probably we can situate yeah, then Komono will put it in context. Into Jampacho, Sub-Saharan Africa. This ease of doing business, no, a measure Nyama do. Into Nyama 10, and now Kikamboma Obeka say, oh, Okoye Juma Waha, a year, chance Obeka Koye Juma Waha. All the 10 things are important, and a Jami Babu or Nyama 10, yeah, yeah, what, yeah, Musa and how easy it is. Dedika starting a business. Say oko registrar of companies or how the ease of starting a business and the atosum you are dealing with construction permits so be now permits all the permit issues related to say starting business and the atosum you the atosum you getting electricity because in say when you am kanya untimi nya hwenti and the atosum you the atosum na say ube register property say wasa say lands need related matters DVLA registration of property and atoso the atoso 9 say obenya bosia getting credit the atoso num say minority interest say nipa di omusika ba adwuma no omo start here no omo majority no kwan be no omo fa so omo say omo investors no the minority omo less than 50 omo dey so no kwan be na ye fa so a ye ba omo ho ban and the atoso paying taxes. Say the ease and complexities around taxes. They are also being trading across border. Say we walk Ghana, quite ben abefa so I do near Nigeria, Togo, Senegal, Burkina. Into the market now try and where how easy is it to access? They are also enforcing contract. Oya contract, uni obi signing agreement. Nefu obe enforce wo Ghana to say na de twato insolvency say adwuma no eba forma kwan be na obefa so bankruptcy ni thing niema do ni eja globally out of 190 economies Ghana ease of doing business as a 20 data set of 2019 you toss 118
na e saying
190 economies
90 and you talk 118
well, yes 118 in sub-Saharan Africa, out of 48 economies, you're also 13.
Okay.
No ankra ease of starting business globally, 116. Sub-Saharan Africa, 19. Dealing with permits, 104 globally, 14th. Sub-Saharan Africa. Getting electricity globally, 79th. Sub-Saharan Africa, number 5. Registering property, 111. globally, 14 sub-Saharan Africa. Getting credit, 80 globally, 13th sub-Saharan Africa. Protecting minority, 5th sub-Saharan, 72 the whole world. Paying taxes, this is paying taxes globally, 152. Yet also 152.
That's right.
The complexities and ease of tax systems, 152. Sub-Saharan Africa, yet also 25. They're also being trading across borders. Say AF was a other nations. 158 globally, 28 in Sub-Saharan Africa. Enforcing contracts. 25 Sub-Saharan Africa and 117 globally, and insolvency were 36 Sub-Saharan, 161 globally. This is 2019 data. A Jamaican man, the American said it appeared even before COVID. The ease of doing business in Ghana, and that's where I want to. All the American, man, said, some of these things back COVID, but Midika from a World Bank data set say before COVID, na uye juma Ghana na nyafosa, and the data proves that.
Yeah, sure. When the boss saying, "I met my casabe, you know, some years be pet, and I no a boy kakra electricity,
electricity, and no crying himself doing so, and no say and come off for post."
Until a bay num be me and said be pen and now.
Okay,
a bit favorable. Yes, and my consonant, the next and
into him and Sefima, seven and why. Inti say as a fee, sir. Then the question is, quite many before you be improve business environment. But you him say after COVID, 2022 was probably the peak of our crisis. Time Ghana exited 2022 with inflation of 54%, which was 22-year-old all-time high. Sub-Saharan Africa, the average for the year was 9.46. The average for Ghana that year was 31.3. Inflation, and I think that Doc Waha said inflation says a method way na meton 1 CD na inflation at 54. It means that 54 pesos ababeka home. Inti for every cost of living say na me ye bibi na me operating expenses for Ghana 10 million. Say no 54% yebu mu mienu a mu baako abeka home. That is what the inflation meant. The worst part, and I think Doc indicated it, but I have the figure, so I'll add it to it. Your currency. This is my own paper I wrote. As of 9 July 2007, redenomination. Redenomination. The first time we came back to the market was 9 July 2007. CD dollar now 0.9266. Interna CD no. Who I didn't change dollar no at 0.9266. 10 years after, by the time 2017 came, so now could $1 million, which was in excess of 1 million Ghana cedis at the time. You would have lost 78.84%. Usikano, you would have lost 78.84%.
Just all the
into your capital erosion. Simply because of currency, about 78%. Between 2017 and now, 2024, you would have lost about 69.25%, which is the capital loss, 69%. You root 10 years no. But I said it severally. Said no economy can survive with this capital erosion because of currency. Say usika sotia neti no. No business will survive, particularly for foreign capital. Because all the foreign capital, the system was CD, particularly the financial services, reporting in CD. Until we be a CD, but dollars. If your capital cost in currency introduced by market risk, 78% over 10 years, it typically means that actually, if you do be also compare get three for the best starting. That is even you're making enough profit to cover your operational cost. Your capital would have gone to zero. Inteja they make a question say yemfa DGP meka ho, which is we know the monies held by some of these multinationals that was held by government. Yemfa cost of capital meka ho, which is Dokai say you 30 reference Ghana reference rate at 29.5 or 29. Bank in ne risk index ne margins and meka ho. O de kan ho a watwa mu 30. Adwuma be na obeya obenya ho mfaso. Ubu mu miensa obenya mu baako. Unya nu wi a mfie du bia no sika na ode start ye no wasa akofaba. The point I'm making is that before COVID and Russia Ukraine, doing business in Ghana was turbulent, needing, but I think it's gotten a bit more difficult. And we no assisa and Komono, we would just say, oh, 8 companies and 7 companies. There are rumors of going, but for me, it's not even omokon. Of course, if FDI and I say multinationals buy a contract, for me, 2 main things: skill and because share Numa, so people learn. People who work in multinationals end up with the best of skills because best practice. But we are no free capital. Numa, and I think Doc spoke about some of the appendages of Numa in Koso. But for me, the bigger emphasis is on Ghana for Ghanaians, right? So obia or $1. Ghana, because we know the dollar is a reserve currency. Is running away. Ghana Nino, what is happening to him? Because on the only baby ako. So me in Komono, that is where I want to drive it to. Into Yekase, they have somewhere to go. Into some of them have made decent profit over the years. Into that's fine. It makes sense because Juma Ghana is heading. But what happens to the Ghanaian businessman? For tax efficiency and ease of paying taxes, we are 152 globally, 25th in Sub-Saharan Africa. Before COVID, taxes have increased. What is the complexities around tax compliance? You corporate, we are what's up between 21% indirect tax through VAT, 11 and all the related things. So I think say if we say a Juma and a dimpum to about my politics are. Politics is always an architecture that sits on the economy. And the teacher of mine. And the policy administration, politics, and governance, so. But at the baseline, economy, Juma, and the teacher of mine. If this is the nature in which I hear Juma or Ghana, now I can say the private sector is the engine of growth. Is the engine number, the engine is not moving. Engine no. Say you twice you on overhauling no. We this why us back in into the make a question is we need to recognize that before COVID, the realities were harsh in Ghana. But after COVID, it's probably become worse. And some of these companies, before they move, they've done a lot of analysis. So I'm even asking myself, what is it telling us going into the future? Then right? So the real conversation is that we know say it's precarious now, and I adding to say, but have you added 2027, 2028? The government DDEP now restructure when the principals are due. Will we still be debt sustainable? What would happen to our economy in 3 years, in 4 years' time? And these are the real conversations, and that is why I get passionate when we tilt towards the politics. MPP bear MPP politics, NDC bear NDC politics. I get infuriated because where we are as a nation, or man, and yet, Obi was saying, body abrewajo. You know, I think that we need to get our hearts together. I want to say take the realities in our economy, and then we all need to wake up to the realities.
Okay. Me dance papa. Me Dr. Sona ya share na mamema honorable Wilkinson Akwaba honor ga West Abankracha obekansa honorable Akwaba. Na no pay ye kasika moto to ye hu nsam we san say Mampenia be the actually or say to or say I agree that interest rates are high. My government will work with Bank of Ghana to implement prudent monetary policy measures to maintain price stability. Maybe some people say some way. Or economist. Why are you Bank of Ghana? Man penny na dan kwaku fado edi ne ho adanse ama Ghana fo ya gya to mu say ye ka economic whiskey da oyonoa. And maybe be sika sam aduru ni. On the head of the economic management team. Obi ansi ne kwansema ne nyana adwuma. And so say wagya to mu say interest rate e wo soro pa. No no mo se oba na ban mu a one Bank of Ghana e be ye adwuma na what me hwe say monetary policy measures no mutuma na bibia tumi aye and na ye kasa ye no Bank of Ghana for so no mo na ye adwuma still enti den na oba be no soronko a ye nya hunu ye e den na si ne kwanti ontumi nya ne sabere na amanfo dwetire so hia na ehye ekwo ba nyina na de no guase aka oman no de nguase so ka ban so bibia na de no ntumi nya ne nne efa moa nne na nani onyam no enko soro kopem bre beto aba no na mu na bekasa me ba ansa na betuma ba ye we
ajakoba
yes sir
me da se ana pe ye be chia ye tiefo nya no me chia o mampani na na do ni Dr. Mahmoud Baumia o ye ready aba me chia doc e she ha che ana pa wa kama pa that's it eyi unya sumpa akwaba uba hache na ajakoba de omuni say a good leader be anu na swallow the proudness if somebody is a good leader na ade bi nkoyie no no ankasa hu say ade ni ntweyie no be pay mu aka say ade ni nkoyie that is a sign of a good leader. In fact asem na o kan sisi ya ka say o wa bem aka ne be 7 months ebeto aba 8 months ebeso no nkasa in I don't think say ono na dream no Ghana for bet na say 8 months abre because ye ka say ekoto aba obi di inyina so obi na ekoto aba no nti ne wo hu eni se ne o feel no ena o de koto aba no but since the Ghana for your timelines ye can be bia so my timeline my yen say yen say Dr. Mahmoud Baumia has been somebody on per timeline but so obey adwuma na obey the enti ameka sa ne say o wa ben mu sesi ayi de Bank of Ghana or no mo na ye adwuma say the one ka say more statement no no mo na ye adwuma so there's no way say obeka say ade ni say na say wie na me ba be siesi eye obi kana asemo a the content na odi ka asemo no ebia egina bibi so me say na nimbo but obi kra bi obi betime bi say na wo ba obeye dey sa e ho no no say wo ma answer no a wo ma answer no te say na nipa no ebi say wo fa but here ka say I don't think say Dr. Mahmoud Baumia is ready say CD no and depreciate out to ebia 20 CD per dollar and son ono aba na when dey baba enipa o mo dey baba no they are suffering right it is almost suffer there so when you adwuma then you won't come into what I know is I remember last time we met na in commodity mu no you see Dr. Mahmoud Baumia and he will do his best and by June July August you be difference
June August
e ho no no wo beka ye beka say oh so o kan say wo ba ono ba na ba mu a ono ye to aba no ba but what is happening you can say a dollar is 14 cedis or something 13.9 something
14.2
okay say a jump back na 15 na 16 na yes akoyechi 2 years ago a call 18 no say enya hu de Ghana ye but I don't think say Dr. Mahmoud Baumia will sit down for those things to happening enti message Ghana for na ye nyina no situation here we must see no emo ye din nobody is saying say emo ye mre but opening bi or your opening no ono na oye mfumso a ohu ni say mfumso ye ama ye yi say me siesie enti there's no way
Dr. Mahmoud Baumia say Dr. Baumia aban na hu so ma ye mfumso baby
one safety
say
I remember say the late John Kuma so the parliament no can say we will not go to IMF me boa later omo ankasa tena say omo hu say IMF ni anko a emwa ye no e de na ba he It's not the same people who came out to say we are going to IMF. The proudness ni nyina no waswalo. Ono no original parliament can say yenko and was say yebeko.
What's your economic situation you say here? Wo ban tam ka say na drug year submissions bi. Say say see you kura no na ye kan about economic stability say dem ampani abedi akire kan. Information bi amanya sisi a kire say wo mo a ye kai Uber ne yango ni mo ne nasefo ne manema no wo mo mpanifo abo mo kokko. Say there's some areas in Accra here. So be say o me for mo ho a mo nkonko for mo. Because of robbery.
Okay.
So okay. It is a investor bi wo baby. Say obi wo baby no say oba Ghana. Na wo hu no tete sansam nyina. Ni yam nkwahye ne more because anya hwe kura no ye nim se ne ma no emu se da anye papa dada na de emu nye papa dada na bo isama be ka ho no etu se ade no oha no kwa na ekosoro se ye nim se problem bi wo ho na se betumi ahu bibia. Why don't we do it now? Se de be ya ye betumi ahwe na amafo betumi ahia because nkrofo dwetire shit.
Ejama me fa being to out there just before he respond. The piece now can say robbery issues no. Oko GIPC websites that they now will be mayor Juma Ghana is the #1 reason. Yeah. Say we're peaceful. The second in Africa, first in South, West Africa. If there is evidence to show say it's getting worse there, that means even the things that work for us seems to be getting worse. I just wanted.
Yes.
Sumpa can you Ghana will be a baba ye Juma. The ocean is a omanimo assetna security wise. It is saying. Oba say na omanya nkasa accommodating no say onu ni ntrance ye ni bibi oyepia but Ghana is one of the best countries ni yete ni de ye wo ha yete ewiase for na nyina no we are experiencing these issues say baby obeko bia ejakobra issues eba they say me sure say bia ye nu ho am company say bia omo fi country ni mu omo fi say
ni nyina ni ye no nkomo ni edi
okay eti no mimi hu ni say edru baby a onyankopon nkasa pese o sia Ghana e wo kwan bi so
kwan be ya
adinti na meka sa na inkradan ehu adin obi pantimo etu no na obi pematna somehow no e ba affect country no e wo baby kutuwa bi say Unilever eyi Lipton efi Ghana e di ko Nigeria na Access Bank efi Nigeria na Oba Bank Oba Ghana obi anum die nti elsewhere nkofo ye dwuma 5 years 6 years na mo bankrupt na omo ye dwuma Unilever no it is some peka say one of the advantage ni say people will get skills say oye dwuma omo na mo ye production no onim se ne ye no anko obefi anko betima ye ade ehia ne penisa anko benyiska na odi anya na equipment bi a e bi dan we mu obetimi build ono an factory bi a obetimi ya bibi I can tell you for the fact to say those people no most of them what national companies in nyina no they mean when say omo mfiti ade no mu biom somehow because what they are doing in Europe no they want to do the same thing in Africa which it will not help them. How? Because how yes let me say this onim omo board of directors omo chief executives most of them omo ti be omo ti their profit margin na omo nya wo ho no they are expecting say they will get the same thing in Africa. Usha banks I work Ghana and Africa ha omo fi say omo dwuma nko yie no most of them they are from Europe. Na Nigeria banks omo ba Ghana ha hwese na omo fry omo yie dwuma because they are used to the system. It is a wo fi France na wo ba ba ye dwuma wa ha na dwuma na wo ye no fi say umfa so wa say wunya. Some people are getting more than 120% as their profit. Now, above from because of inflation, dollar rate, CD no, eco form, enuntino, no year papa. It's their own advantage because it's their own disadvantage because onono fee sem faso na onya maybe atwemu no. You have to continue to get it.
Some can we say ebinum fee Europe ba on pese omo standard na wo ho no
the same thing
apply in Ghana.
Yes, in Ghana.
Now so entisa na wo mo e wo ya hwene no ha ya no.
They are doing well.
They are doing well. Let's talk about womo emfaso omunya. Some the go back. It is say yetumi ama yenuanom wo ha ya sadia wo ka no yenuanom wo ha ya de no omunya improvement e kosoro na yankasa yan Ghana for kasa ye de na wo ha no ye guna ye interest and ye say one say how interest
I mean ye gunu ni de me ni evidence bi say ye bia ye gu Ghana companies ni ma Nigeria for de ye
but the banks ye gu banks bebre wo Ghana
no banks
no affecting okwan bi so
they are not up to standard omo nka say juma na omo ye no most of them and they know and uchi bank man de bia the bank ni nye juma na ono am kasa betimi aka kire we run a system
but me sure say no crap but
bank manager ben na beka say na the bank ni
they are not standard esumpa unim
I have a book on it.
Yes, unim pa no ko wo say system ni e was here no uko Europe ni normal you know they run credit facilities but in Africa what do? We do debit tembia no usika na bank ya untimi nye scam find it nti commercial base no wo hwe ni omo ye no a ofii say nipa ni sika any bank na okita credit card no odi ye is a jacob wa ko hotel uko akoda sika bia ni account no any card no so but say ukrokin na say utua be ye $2,000 ya bank no will credit you na I mean wetimi dia ye wo normal because of what? Because of say sa ehonom no more good system a ebetimi dia trace you so when tua kura no a ekwan bia so betua na nsen so mo mobile money ayi bi omoye say uhia loan na no age ebinim timi tu omo sim no etutwene ogia na wentua na sim no ayi no ato atwene omo di no kura no I think they started from they start from 500 upwards na just say cost and then because ebitimi yi 10,000 because 1 month right within a month no obemia na netua the 10,000 no into running credit facility say oni MTN Vodafone Tigo Airtel the omoye no but omana ye timo je sia no we don't do that into why it's na omo ba no foreigners na omo ba ni nyina no omo who ni say those things no as a bank
and then my economy do be agree
omo nyesa yes ni nyina kan ho bi omo nyesa ni ntino they are not running profit yes because tembian just nipa na bank abaji loan as no dey age
share interest rate e wo yen loan
tembian just nipa na aba bank abaji loan as no dey age
share interest rate
in the Jacob obi anka say interest rate na ni so
enti say obi wo ebia Nigeria obi yemfa no la Côte d'Ivoire obi owo oman bi so yemfa say Côte d'Ivoire no Côte d'Ivoire sorry rate is
interest rate oh 7%.
7%.
8 to 10.
To 10. Yemfa say yemfa 10%. Ghana dey say
Jacob interest rate me say yenim
32 year dey achew
e dey achew
so we
and me say
enti say oman bi
e wo ho sir but the me see to dey say companies no move Ghana no minim banks bi a omo fi African countries yi baby to say Morocco e bia no mo be 300 branches omo fi ho Nigeria hire I think February about 15 companies omo fi ho omo fi ho no e bi nim so feel say yes omo tum call because Lipton the matter say yes o call Nigeria e bi so ba Ghana sankrofo no e bi so e ba Ghana nti Jacob Ray obi pentem atuo no no obi pem atena
me da say
because sesi aye won say China for e ba Ghana ha na omo no na omo produce no ebo no wo fom na company no fi France na oba ye no high quality of it say the normally there because if you France therefore ebo na e wo ho no e say ejina ho company bi ti say dark and lovely so omo so ka mo bi sa enkuyi omo yankofo di for omo timi na omo nim na omo di po omo hu na omo no menyina no the other companies here omo so wa run omo ye the same thing
we can say
say if those companies are there no omo ye aduma oton no dia no 5 cedis usu wo dia no dia just oton no 15 cedis and say when your profit are You can fit in.
What the but yebaba doc will become me ma his excellency appear la kwaba. No problem.
No, so more akwaba.
Me more akwaba. Na doc what see the ekoba nyina. Per won hwehwemu a waye. Ayi for mo hwehwemu a maye for man ese kasam ho no. Your earlier submission no can somehow do be say. Enye mresa. Enye mresa. Do you say some multinational companies say ekui? Ya kan bibi so oma hu bibi a yen hu ya na. Oma ti bibi a yen te ya na. That to sustain our local businesses no. Situation e wemu yi no. Ye betumi sustain Ghanaian own businesses manage to me it's as a cost of production no. Ano hye pa.
Yeah. So say I can already say omo ko obi a taking individual decision because we share the industry no woman na the profitability and the competitiveness. That's what feel is our hana on your competitive. Then of course we relocate our country feel is now it has to do with macroeconomic stability. Some indicators I will mentioning interest rates, inflation, depreciation. You know, has to do macroeconomic stability. If economy is stable, business is not to me a planet. Into my own to me a maximize more profit. Say situation I woman no, say into me achieve macroeconomic stability. No, COVID no any Russia Ukraine will be a bit disruptive any idea, but say no baby I want we have not gone back to a stable situation. We should send our currency moving there. But let me also say something. Me as an economist, the way I economy, because there is the issue of sending out manage your economy. Sometimes economists need you who send the economy, economic managers they managing one. Now, we have issues because we understand the US. What do you need to put together and all that? Do you get me? And Dr. Baumia, or your colleague, you know, meaning you're Bank of Ghana, or no, so economics, what you say. Say, no, what I can see is a campaign now, or mention some policies, yeah. Yes, economics, if you say, I agree with you. How we understand the economics. What them can? Low taxes, fiscal discipline, lean government, long-term development plan, ownership of your natural resources, value addition. These are the things that we have been talking about forever. But the question is, why is it that in 7 years, one to me I implemented those measures? That's my issue. And me, I get the impression that as he's come out to say he was just a driver, a driver's mate. Apparently, he didn't have much influence. This is how I am reading into because what he's proposing now, I've welcomed some of them. Do you get me? I've welcomed some of them and say, I think this is what we have been talking about. Okay? Economic management is about resources and policies. Just say you need resources to implement good policy. That's all. Ghana, you have resources. We are not a poor country. Do you get me? Baumia is out there saying, say, you gold reserves in Kwano. And he's in government, meaning sure say he has the facts. Or say, when he say it's worth $10 trillion. Trillion, not billions. That is just gold. Other resources, when we bring foreigners in here, to exploit resources now, they are more for 85%, they are for 15%. Why? Why do we continue to do that? I've heard him say, we'll take full ownership. Okay? And Crawford said, how can you do that? We should have long ago resourced your geological survey department to be able to map out your minerals, because the skills are your officials making they say, we don't have the capital and the expertise to explore at the unity. That's why you let the foreigners come in. We should have and we should start from today, and I've heard Dr. Bawumia saying that, resource the Geological Survey Department. Send your best map out all the minerals. He baby already. The foreigner, we need only to contract him. I say, Betumayen, I'll pay for your costs now with the 2 adiano plus profit margin. But I didn't know 2 yen. Give it to me. What do you mean? Say you own. You go along that path, near to me own enough of our natural resource wealth. We'll get enough foreign exchange to support the city. do you get me? And the city will be stable. But if we have to wait for IMF to release one more tranche, you know, in fact, my 600 before, another 600, the city is still unstable. Yeah, we are waiting for the next tranche of 360 million. Bank of Ghana is waiting for it. Well, but you can't rely on loans to support your city because one day, you know, they will flow out again. You have to be paying for it. The pressure will come back, and yet sustainable. The only solution to your problem is let's take ownership of our natural resource wealth. Why are your politicians, your leaders don't do it? I don't understand. I think say for personal, parochial interests, rather than the national interests. Anything I want to take full ownership of your natural resources. No? Then, of course, policies, the right policies. So, no, dear, we can all talk about what policies are right, transformation, agricultural modernization, and all that. So, basically, no, resources plus policies. If you don't get the two together, you are not going to go anywhere. And yeah, rocket science. It is not rocket science. It can be done.
This year, when you know, baby, I'm not going to be a say, Bia, Ubi or Shami, and I say, yeah, you better say, Nasianum Sunday man in Aya. Yapase, Shamagana phone to me, how and say, may presabia to me, Abba to me, when I say, Metro, I'm a monoso. It's a minion and Babagana for him, how me near man, cause they say, Siko. Now, 2 minutes on a silver platter, says some Magana for watching or more, baby, and son, I can say,
no, are you talking about me a position?
Yes, the position on this.
Yeah, but because we are under an IMF program, I impose so many restrictions on us. Do you get me? Taxes, you remove subsidies. In fact, yeah, IMF delegation be by recently, and Omo meeting CSOs. Omo be launch Omo book we are writing on Sub-Saharan Africa. And we were discussing that, and they were saying, "Sir, you see the no crown and depreciate enough. Your money oh yes," and I challenged them. Sir, what are you talking about? Omo say monetary policy, you know. Bank of Ghana continue to tighten monetary policy. Not just say interest rate no kababy one. Onfi say it's not high enough.
Yes, I mean,
yes. Until a Bank of Ghana, the policy rate, you know, from 30 or reducing it to just 29. The last meeting, they maintained it. Inflation follow from 54 to 25. That margin. Now the policy rate, no, that's what's so high. It is because one more model, no, IMF dictated to them, no. They fight inflation with interest rate, which doesn't work in this country because we are not a matured economy. Because your inflation, you know, is driven mostly by supply and cost factors. And as I said, we targeted those factors not directly, not the policy rate. I have been suggesting to them, say, we won't bring it down the policy rate, you know, drastically, because and also influence the other interest rates, no. So the monetary policy is wrong, and IMF is dictating it, and Bawumia can't do anything about it, unless we abandon the program. You can abandon the program, and then of course forego the future disbursements now, and you can do that. Then you can pursue your own policies.
His Excellency, you didn't come out for me because we be a drone, be a year. Na yehwe nyumeku a efiri Ghana ha kwa amana ne so na asem kakra be du baby a ye kwa ne asan abo akiri abehwe se de esi iko no ye ne san as we speak no indigenous companies a Ghana ha o man bia be ko nanimu a sɛ ne manfo ne di yi a ɛmfa sɛ abusua no mufoɔ obiara bia we doctor we lawyer we na so obiara yɛ n'adwuma kakra we di dwa obiara on ne so ne deɛ a ɛma abusua no kɔsoro ɛsan so obiara mfa na de so ankonkoto obiara so saa no man no so teɛ so man no betumi akɔ n'animu a agye sɛ yɛ nnwuma kɔ yɛ Ghana yɛ ankasa yɛ deɛ no ɛno ɛna ebetumi agyina so de akasa bi a we yɛ media nti ebetumi ama ɔman no atumi akɔ n'anim yɛ kasa no cost of doing business in Ghana ha no extremely high. And no kwabo kan ya if they will tell you the truth. One man na ka kwabo kan ya on business flourish pa no is on business kofo. And na wo no but special Nigerians no omo mo na this purpose ne ba pa ton so pa. Ghana for to be into. Ente be wi ase na Ghana for no mo no yen skasama ba fam awo no de ekosoro. E de na ogidi say see to me ye. At this time so na be to me aboy say Dr. Baumia say or agree pass interest rate, very high. But when high, my government will work with the Bank of Ghana to implement prudent monetary policies, policy measures to maintain price stability. Meet you.
Well, thank you very much, Prof. Good morning, and lawyer. Good morning. And the man in the red Indian shirt. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle.
Jacob now. As a high jumper when I was an athlete, I used to go and stand behind the bar, say I can clear 5 meters plus. But my sports master Bekaji said no, Wilkinson can jump better than you do, So let us, for this athletics competition, let's field Wilkinson. What I'm saying is that people judge themselves from what they think they can do. Others judge them from what they have seen them do before. That's the natural things. Yeah. So for me, what Dr. Bawumia is saying, whether he says with economic theory or whatever it is, for me, it's not my concern. But my real issue is that MPP4 agree, so between 2016 to 2017, they themselves said they were doing better. No, so this has been their theory all the time. They were doing better. That from that time to this, economy there must be reasons for why we are here. All right. Never mind, say they find easy solace in COVID and Ukraine. Never mind. But where we are now is as a result of deliberate policies. Deliberate decisions. And are you following me? Yes. And I will explain all. And toxic politics. Now you are saying, sir, the Nigerians are doing better, right? Because they have the Zenith Bank here. They have their own banks that finance them, right? Which Ghanaian bank now is prepared to help the Aboso country now? You deliberately collapse your own indigenous banks. Wilkinson, it is not true, sir. The banks were not being managed by competent people. No, not at all. UT Bank, and the rest, they attracted the best of bankers. They did. But if you decide, yes, sir. Before the 2012 election, there was a document that circulated, and we said that certain banks were going to be collapsed. Today, nobody has taken ownership of that document. But the point is that once there's a document saying some bank can be a weakest bank, they best survive. Certainly, so people will take some decisions on that, isn't it? Last time I proved to you, sir, there was so much bias in the closure of the banks against people like Kosindum, against people like UT Bank and the rest. They may have had their own problems. But on record, and I think Prof. Doc would agree, that if we take 800 million cedis to support some banks and collapse others now, this is not justice. There are two banks that we use Ghana government money or taxpayers' money to support them, but and collapse the others. Last time we had discussed now what your position was that you think that they should have dealt with the top crew of the people who were directly involved and then left the institutions to be recapitalized. I think that's what you said. You read from a book. We have collapsed them. And each of these banks, had not less than 100 workers. Are you following me? And these 100 workers out of the economy, had created unemployment. It has also affected social security, because social security contributions for those people have been forfeited. It has also affected our taxes, because bank manager, clerk, they were all paying taxes. So the decision to close the banks may have its own reasons, but net effect in itself, we have collapsed the economy through that. Put that aside. For the past 7 years, taxes are yasu as a country. Taxes are yasu. So today, if you go to Temaport is virtually empty because of what? Extreme taxation. Last time I'm this time I said, previous programs were here. Last time I covered good for anybody. They told you. They told you, say, taxes they go almost they better go to Togo to clear their goods. For man can wear. They said it. Today, listen, you know that we went to India to take a loan for the Mpakadan rail. What was the reason? If we say that time now a lot of the landlocked countries one class Temaport. They are expanding your port. Standards now are very good. So all of them, Mali, Niger, and others, they were coming here. So we decided to say, okay, let us rail distance to Mpakadan, then it should be ferried to the north. Nice policy. What has happened? We put our eyes on the port. We say eyes on the port, eyes on the port. Today, they have run away. They have vacated the Temaport. Now the vice president says, "Obama Togo, friends, your president now here." He said, "Togo." Yet here then, should the economy die before you come to power? Should this economy die before you come to power? Prof, I don't agree, sir. A vice president should not have influence. No, I don't agree at all. Especially when the president has considered, say, he's not that status of an economist. And that if you listen to Nana Ohininto, said the only thing that President Akufo-Addo used to convince MPP before, he said, Bawumia had some economic background. That was the only thing. Otherwise, he was not even a branch member of the party. So, I employ you as the manager of my economy. 7 years after, when there's a board meeting, you go and stand in the crowd and say that, oh, when I become the board chairman or when I become the managing director, I'll do this and that. What have you been doing? What have you been doing as a vice president? And the ridiculous definition of vice president as a driver's mate, so ridiculous. So ridiculous. If the president swears a note, doesn't the vice president swear a note? Doesn't he swear a note? Look at the order of priorities. Who's the number one person in Ghana? Any president. Who's the second most important person in Ghana? Vice president. So how do you reduce that office to that of a running mate? Driver's mate? Why do you do that? And I've told you, me, I will judge a Jacobna from what I've seen him do. I don't have the Jacobna promises me to, because all his line of promises, he doesn't fulfill them. You see, sometimes your international relations support your economy. You know what? Yet Oman Penny, you have gone to America to talk about Burkina Faso. Said you have put some rebels or something coming to attack Ghana, which is not true. You know what Russia then did? Russia then decided, okay, we are also positioning soldiers in Niger. Last week, they brought them 120 tractors. 120 tractors because they want to go into agriculture. 120 tractors. IMF, 120 tractors. Sikari Yakoja, IMF, Dientia. Russia for no Emma Burkina Faso can. Let's be careful. Say they would not have the idea. Say one dam voter revenue. They will not dam it up there. And when they dam it, we'll see what will happen here. International relations is also very important. Very, very important. Where we are now, it is not as a result of economic theories. It's a result of deliberate political decisions to destroy the economy.
Really?
Let me explain to you why. An economy like yours decide that God should be given a house. Okay? Yankopon say man dying. Say today we are all reading universe after universe after universe. So if the man who created the whole of those universe, you spend how much money in that? Over $400 million, isn't it? You spend it on that. You say you are fighting Galamsey. Now the water bodies are worse. Sika you are spending on water bodies, no Galamsey, no. All right. So where we are, it's not a result of it's not a result of not application of economic theories. No. It's a result of deliberate political decisions. You have established that interest rates,
32.
32, right? How many businessmen can walk boldly to SGSSB to say some loan at 32%? Just say every 100 cities we are
a third. What interest rate cost
you do that. Your Bank of Ghana decides I'm going to print currency just to create inflation, and they have done it. Are you following me? So if your Bank of Ghana decides I'm printing currency, printing. To me, as an ordinary man, what will be its effect? Okay.
Yes, sir.
You see, it's time we say as Ghanaians, you believe you be free in political. You say, a man, it's an sumi ye best no. Ye best no. If you say, Obia person would defend the political party, which for me may be good, but it's silly when it comes to national development. 2014-2015, gold prices and other commodities in Ghana, it fell down. It dipped. What did the Mahama government do? They called a national stakeholders meeting, Senche consensus, and I think Prof was there. They came out with homegrown solution. Not so. And now you IMF loan. This current IMF, how many experts sat down to discuss the terms? And out of the Senche consensus now, a year homegrown solution. When you say IMF may have $1 million, $1 million, Muhammad is saying, what you saying? What you saying? And then kindness echoing. When you decide, say all of a sudden, you ready budget, Obiangbo, we say, toe boot in the MIS can watch him. At that time, Granatama, toe boot, takradi toe boot, and now I'm say, wager toe boot. Yakoji loan, and I repair toe boots, and I'm what? Get him electronic gadgets as his own. Today, go and see them. Go and see them. In doing that, apart from loss of revenue, do you know the number of this PWDs and Krofana Sabi? Do you know the more of them you already? So you create unemployment by yourself. You dissolve you collapse your banks. You bring toxic policies, and then everybody knows. So we are being robbed. Your boy Chrono was something like COVID fund. COVID is COVID here. COVID gave us more money than we could have made within the period. COVID did not stop us from raking the revenues. Revenues are even during the COVID, no so much overtaking taxes ananwa. They exceeded their target ananwa. So we never ran short of revenue during the COVID. Rather, we had more. And if you take a decision, sir, one can say, where's your airport? What do you want Nigeria? So when you friend the COVID test, now only 18 million, or 1 million, don't offer 18 million. Look at you. Look at you. One can say, what do you seek an innovative airport? Right? Now the amount private persons, so one running a private jet. To date, none of us know the terms and conditions. Running. The last time Mr. Kwakwa, you know your brother Mr. Kwakwa spoke about the security arrangement. What did they do? They sacked him. So, Chief, the head doing I say canokre. Share. And me catch you last time say we have even received money as emission from the World Environmental Program. Say Ghana for and other African countries. Into about 1.something million from the Amaya. Say you keep your environment. So why are you being taxed emission taxes? Why? You're the heading. You're the more EPA finance. You're the heading. It is still on.
No.
Emission tax,
Chief, we are still paying.
Uncle.
Hey, don't disagree with me before you check. Don't disagree with me before you check.
Check say emission tax no.
Check it.
Say
Go on.
I'm de buy but I'm fat.
FIA. You know, so
Yes, sir.
when we say was someone would draw, even though that admits someone would draw crana. What was the essence of it? What was the essence of it?
Daily Graphic in general says it takes effect from February 1st, 2024.
No, it was when they wanted to take it off. Start. And the graphic announced it that from today it's going to
You
start.
are a district chief executive.
But it's what
You are a district chief executive.
was there.
You are a municipal chief executive.
Nothing.
Listen,
Uncle.
listen.
Yes.
Uncle, examine
Have I finished?
Uncle, we
Have I finished?
Dabi ubi so na ka bibi nti na wo.
auntie, Ejakoba dey money say.
Then the wom. E wo dem.
Me can be afa. He said something about banks now me can say they were not managing the banks well. Or mention me didn't make be afa one. Ejakoba, uncle here can bear with me say bank bia or ye adwuma na ye ne ye sika kogo. Na say ye ko ye sika back. Na sika ni ye nya. Bank no follow on another bank say obetumi abo ne bosia di etua no nkrofoka. If those monies doesn't come, what happened to the bank? And the bank need the uncle ankasa dem say banks na ankasa no. A collapse here. As na no money.
Why
It's no one can say
Grace, workers when we. Workers when we. No, workers when we. Have you finished? Let me.
Well, so we cause the idea juma. Yes, for no sima me dey enko.
I have also said
the time we have more than 50
Me
minutes.
pacho me dance. Your excellency pacho
More than 50 minutes. I had only 5 minutes.
Me dance.
Uncle, you know, you're my
in my submission about banks, you know. Not only did I say the banks were being managed by some of the most competent bankers we have in this country. I said that, isn't it? I also said, whereas we deliberately supported some two banks with $800 million, no, others were friends of collapse. Didn't I say that? So what is your problem?
Okay. Your excellency me dance. Doc. Essence economy ho an ye wo na ye be hwe nti no. Sese no. Baby edru aso.
Have you checked for me? Have you checked for me?
E dey na ye be ye. Ama yesi kasam na tumi agina. Essence day in day out no. Na me na koso na me ka bibi about import duty. Say obi kwakoto obi import card aba Ghana. Na ebia onim say me kwakotua 45,000 Ghana cedis. Ene me duty am kwakotua. On free fie koduru ho no. Na ye de be 3,000 kwasan atoso. And I say 500 bibia san ba beto so. Inti amaso nipa no tumi mpane say na yawa wo kan ye no because of fluctuation of the unity currency niti no investor no tumi emplan ye. Wo ni say den ye betumi enne asoman. Na ba bia ye keka koyi no. ye nkonko to amena bi mu na mu ye betumi agira na so man.
Well, say the IMF program no drive yeah policy. You have to operate within the IMF program because who breach conditions now. I mean, one best sanction. But the question as whether I can see a IMF and no crowd say they are too. Some of us felt saying can necessarily see a record. But once our corner there, you are bound by one more policy, and I'm not happy with IMF policies. You know, me join IMF for 10 years. Yeah, I'm not happy with their policies. But once I do so you can't do this, you can't do that. If expenditure choices, revenue, dictating. We shouldn't have been where we are. You see, we shouldn't, as a country. You see, if we were following the right implementing the right policies near there, we shouldn't have been here. Stabilizing the currency, it is not rocket science. If you are an economist, so if you are not an economist, you can say, exchange rate needs just a cost. In fact, as again I say we are working within the IMF program, but say maybe the right policies. Maybe say they must be outside. They are outside the IMF program now. Do you get me? In fact, I've gone to the extent of even saying here currency if you say to me maintain as the CDR, let's abandon it and adopt the dollar. Dollarize the economy. Zimbabwe for years, sir. You see, because look at, do we even have a currency? In fact, since redenominating just 2007, and 1 to 1.
1 to 0.9.
Yes, roughly 1 to 1. See, I do Sankaye, a old currency, Ghana cedis now. And as they say, 140,000 to $1. We don't have a currency anymore. We share the cumulative depreciation from maybe 1983. I started say liberalize the economy now. 1983, me work depreciation now 99.99999%, and our currency depreciated. Now when we say mathematically quantity be so depreciating by 100%. Now I vanish. I zero. And the currency depreciated by 99.99999%. Of course, mathematically, and cause zero because the cause zero just vanish. Look, if I had my way, dollarize the economy. I mean, not forever. For now, well, until say I restore the economy into good, then we can say there now. Let's get our own currency. And now say. The other alternative is a central bank, it may converting into what we call a currency board. Currency board, on my government credit, on printiska, where you see this obey issue, or back 100% with foreign exchange. One again. See, the part of the problem is Bank of Ghana law say on backing with at least 40% with foreign exchange. Into 60 a government bills money are there. Senka progressively increase the foreign exchange backing of the currency and can best strengthen. Okay. And the just say solutions, policy measures now the correct ones now they are there as economists. We all know them. But we have not been following those policies. And you ask yourself, I mean, why not? You see, we were running this country like I don't know whether a business because. It's like go and borrow, go and borrow. Yeah, assets, you collateralize. I say all the assets. Do you get me? Get fund, ESLA, all those, Ghana investment fund. So we were running this country like a business. So borrow. But borrow, say eventually, exactly.
And doc, say to me and service ye service start say
you are suspending the servicing of external debt.
And
no crown bin na well see the no crown no help no kakra. Say you start to say you pay back, there will be more pressure on the city. On the mechanism.
This city besan
yeah, besan akosoro. You know, well, dollarization because say extreme.
That's the comment.
Yeah, but extreme, but you don't have a currency.
Prof, I think it's important. Prof is absolutely right in the history. From 83 ERP, now 2 CD 75 pesos. By the time we got to 1990, it was 90 CDs. By the time we did revaluation, it was 9,000. It was 9,264.
Exactly.
And
today it's 134,000.
Yes. Today is 142,000.
Okay, 142.
Yes.
To the dollar.
Historically, unique currency, but I just don't agree with him on the recommendation on the dollar. I know, say, it has rooting in theory. The problem, however, is we should make the dollar rather useless in Ghana. Sure. The speculative effect of why people pursue the reserve should be killed completely, and that is policy. Yes, there are days we have a trade surplus. That means all your balances are on the grand scale. There is a surplus. The city should have been stronger. But the problem is that when you look at your capital, say Sika, the speculator, say the dollar now. That is, in my humble view, the bigger driver, and that is a government policy. So, if government, why does the politician who own a house in East Legon need to tell me it's $150,000? Why? Why does a hotel need to price in, which is against the law, right? Why does everybody sell anything in dollars? Why does the banks allow people to pursue a reserve into $1 So it's actually the speculative nature of running to hide in the dollar, which has been predominantly our problem.
in dollars, no converted by cedis, as what you mean.
So that's what I'm saying. So government policy should make the dollar completely useless in Ghana, except when it's backed strictly by international trade and international transactions.
Me dan say. Yeah, quite some for us now. Yeah, share na abunundu. Akasimenum na abunundu. Kakra na abunundu. Memoaba.
The emission tax.
Na me hear what ya you send through won't Mama share what can say? Man penny na not done for because May 1st. Say yes.
Doomso is over.
But say Doomso over.
And ram me light. Within the week I've had like
okay, sorry. Okay.
Then a cost.
Ejakobra.
Fu and some one a cost.
Ejakobra. Who said the Oka Akasiano? Omo mucha bontinyo mu fisa asembiyesi.
Na asem
asembiyesi. Asembia anyways, bibia in sheda nyengwa nwasa.
To okania asem no man peni se ye ne to kwanta ya pai. Enso na me da sum.
But Ghana so. Ghana so pa.
Me da sum mundra.
Okay. You were 29th district. E wo Greater Accra nko. Betima catch was say out of 29 no, ebia 27 and not 26. By almost 1 week in here, Omo express any do so.
Wona walker.
Aya nukrapa. Tamo man peni ka asem no. Na yenye anim say the entia sa dum is ongoing. Ye ho adwuma. O man peni 1st May we share adwumayefo ono o mabonkomo. Wa hye o mo aka cha o mo say efi chine kono. Dum so ne de ye ba be twa so kra wa Ghana ha. So man peni ka sa gradually no a week, 2 weeks. E be ba be bin ka.
O kan say ye twam wa Ghana na say ye twam na so se say e be endros na na sakra.
O say efi chine kono. O say efi chine kono. Efi echina e kono. Dum so ye hu bio. a future
which is on the 2nd of May.
Which is a future of 2nd,
The
3rd, 4th,
2nd,
5th. Today is 10th, 11th. Today is 11th.
See the end of
No.
Infinity.
No, I'm quite to the end because tell me now what the cast of no na baby or baby
Professor Wilkinson.
See no tuma. Say you can say do so no dan wo ho a. Me nye wetin nye bebre because e bia no I was say edum wo kan ya. Nti wo di obetima ka say no edum kan ya. So mpa say edum 3 times. Na just say omuduma no maso omuduma maso.
No, that be within the week, but within the week I've at least had 3 times.
3 times.
Yes.
Obi so ho within the week onya one kra.
It's a timetable, timetable.
It's nipa na but timetable na yeka ho asam sesi ano. Ebe na obehu say wo ho na problem ni wo. Omo ye ho adwuma no.
A problem be pa na we can say problem be pa na wo ho. Aye ni.
Problem me ho nyina ni say minister be ka che we say enoma ne dodo no ano asay.
Transformer
no asay.
Na PRS
PRS for no mo ka no. Efi Glico eba electricity company omo aye yetu scan ma omo no. E de ba asam na esi ho.
What is the Council of State?
Say scan ya say omo ankasa MCF ani omo so mo ntu eska bi because of some and no be go you baby so omo nka no ko bi nche nipa no ntino ye di kan ankasa eto omo so e ja ko be nyankopon se nka no ko mma enyi ni hu adanse say be ye 2 weeks ni and the date 11 for number 1 be 2 weeks in the light of it say na no de no ana
oh there be ekofom
kra
na bastard na until I didn't know 5%.
No, before president stood and said from tomorrow those things will not happen again. Me go kan this asem. Me ka say na no ni am shishinu say me ka say NDC. Enye NDC asem. Me kan this asem but o mampani kasa no. No mampani hu wo nachi. Say light off no e hankrofo. Wo ko no a man speech, a man the onkoka, your channel, the state of power, what Ghana. Say, ABR is a near solve problem by 85%. Into a company, a casano, or kind. Also, when you say light of a hank of four, do so near hank of four. But Ojinaho, I said my phone in Abo say, if it's near Cono. Yeah, when you say, Nancy, the one now, voter registration. Siakwa. She be in the portal no money can. Oh, voter registration, baby, I no. Baby, I voter registration. No money can ya. And I make say you don't see here. I dear pan, yes, Bebra Finia to me, see reader. I got my more example. Me office. Ye need your toy prepaid, your toy BBR. But no, load now a good so honor. Ya office who. So be a bedroom, no sunny AC, a light no call off automatically. It say a see a call say him for. It can happen, say, yeah, Casano. The same thing can happen there. Because no, yeah, example be. It can happen, say, be you okay, but I'm saying, Lord, no, those things in the experience.
When you say, or how be anywhere, I didn't know. Council of State, Asia Gridco, ECG, and I think no, power producers, you know.
Independent.
Yes.
IPPC.
Yes. Council of State for and no Messia. And it's uncle how be the baby.
Council how be any baby. Omo panika so anka so how be any
transformer na musu say transformer ben ya.
Transformer no. Omo bo transformer 600 and something.
Omo say we say PRS say nya no correct. Omo bo.
And the PR is for no come as say no correct. Me so the PR of the Ghana electricity company kind am so meti.
O say nya no correct.
It say Inti omo try am through.
And it's a PRS some number regulatory body.
Okay.
That's no dey measure be baba.
And those things you know omo solve those problems you know.
Still
as you speak, maybe this so fan corner off light off the beer say any hobby. Oh yes, oh there from no bisa omo. Enye baby na light off no wo. Bia na mumu area ho no. Mo transformer esi ho say na yake. Power no load no doors so. It can happen. The good leader of this country, His Excellency Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, wakana asem say light off no ye hu bio. Ampa nso no ye experience good system. Say obi akọ adwuma obafie on kase light off. Obafie a won frɛ say ma light off na say ye ma light off o. Obafie no light wo ho. But 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago no nkrofo frɛ light wo fie and a light in fie so you do light one ka so bo say you light off within 2 months no ye ho hihye ye ama say ekɔ eno nanka ye mmɔ aban na ba so say oka ye no waye hu adwuma because within 2 weeks ah man panika say ye no na light off na bottom nanka ye wo just 20% lighter and ye wo be 95% light
bebo I did not say ni hope you sa no tio de penanum asem o ka kire ni say ade na ni hope you eni hope ye de na asa na still da so wo ho a e wo ho a na eno no ebia 12 hours sisi ase so about 6 hours inti no na eno no na che say
ye lines na mo ho nyina ye one line ye electricity phone ko na say anka ye wo private system bi omo so yes eduma na anka man panika ye anka be hu say aban de na ye eduma na say ho de na ye eduma e just come to be frank with you say ya mo aban na ba so for eduma pa wa ye within 2 weeks o man panika say mo aka ye say me ne omi ye tena ha ne ye ka so man panika say mo aka ye no memu a na we haven't been fair to the government to his excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo because yes abem
say nkania ne ye
e come the whole week unya light off ba akopɛ and na wo ka no sisi wo kan
ho na ka me say anu akra me da light
and na ne just say if Sunday ne ba ha be no and na unya ye
be anya no kore no anya hwe wudi da ko anya light of more than 5 times
Jacob
yes
eti wo dia wo ho anya
e be na e be ho ba be tra we san masan so
na so
the date na say yes
enu dia it can be repressed obi ye bibi
me dan say
uko ajiga no ha omo community bi wo ho no be use machine bi ho
me dan say
oso machine ni pa the whole area no be call off
ajiga I find mami location
no be call off
no say
I was say
use Google ni afia
ama omo nka say die check ohun say the system na o use wo ho no how omo because omo transformer no kutu akama anka I'm a resident here. Omo masisi omo dan ya omo kwakoda omo soil condition fine but obi usu wo system a oho a wo so a say the whole thing nti ono wo tin fie ndo no de esi o say am light off omo na tracy no mo ko hu ye
okay
Ghana any part do omo connection illegal connection to their houses it's not affecting all this
okay yebeja Dr. John Kwachi kwan amana ko sanse ojo bebre ono kra no ye ho donti no ba ye sanse na apomudi no kra ye sa ho apomudi no nshada enye papa nso kan se
doc doc we dey dollar dey dey be ba se ne be betua ka dollars
mejuma wura no na mo dey aseda pie sama but your fana wo bibi ka tia wa sorry
we ko na betua ka support
makama nu asem nyina ne me ka finally say me dey as an economist no me feel say your problems no idea is between us solve and rocket science send you economists and say the man to send anka say the to anka we are not a poor country and media natural resource no cry and tap no I don't get it. And do you people get it? Exactly. Yes.
Emma, yanya 85%.
Yes.
Na dia ka no so.
Yes. And kasidi no, ye benya enough forage support and everything. Can you
talk about it?
Prof, that's Dr. John Kwachi, Director of Research at the IEA, Institute of Economic Affairs, or no, and then now they need to better ye share than as papa no krenye. My main first and okay first the PC man the sense na the ho dodo no pa na so me kan ya no se kwabra wa kan kwa de meba nti ye beda na se papa doc ya da se akiri ye ne no e beto an ko twetwe nti we ye mra fie bio na fe de aka no ye fa so so ne hwe your excellency ye ko ne ye kwa hwe registration ye ko so voter registration limited one ni
ya dum so ne for no nanka me I think it's important you didn't come on ne but me busa say ochna ebe jaya na enjai and I mean in the mid to long term Jacob na me busa yenua Wilkins no crese energy sector debt I could do $1.7 billion and say no credit there IMF program I call in 3 billion. It's here come here I say mu mienu is like uche mu miensa mu mienu. I knew that I yakoje for purposes of energy sector. Into me busa say, is it a fact? Is it a fact? Say energy sector debt at 1.7 billion. A factor. Are we not? Is it not? Say doom son. If even because a political season in T, we do everything it takes to finance gas. Any IPPs for any negotiator in order to get what is necessary to keep the lights on. Is it not a fact? Said this almost $2 billion debt will come back tomorrow to have and yet doom son in the long term more stable form I 2013 2014 no. Is it not the same conversation and a starting starting the phone yeah because you say
yes yeah the car
anything it will be good to hear him because you say about 65% of all power generated there thermal which is gas but say intimate gas nika na it will, and we know that most of the thermal was plants that were acquired recently. Into me busa say 1.7 billion debt here no cry. And yet doom so ne kese pa na eba no but we ya hunsunso so no. I'm say asem kese about franca nsi so. But when your franca e say a bigger problem is on its way. And I think that question is important because we can finance the gases now, but if it's indeed say the IPP forecast 1.7 billion, then the problems are bigger, and they bet me in the politics no because of election. But I think that a bigger problem is lacking, and I say asem kesi.
Say they can about $1.7 billion.
Yeah.
Ni entumi ntuama power producers no. Nti da kropo mu jiga say hey.
And that's about 65% of your energy source. Not just as some kese pa edayanim. In the politics in tea, yabeka mumu so. But I think say I was saying who's as some kese edayanim.
Okay, me that's it. As some kese baba say frank so be on so their frank and boss say pupu richia. Enti no yabeda se na fi yahwe. Your sense na mu demand say sa voter registration exercise the challenges will be or hunting more percent you see emamo serial number of the BVDs you see for such say any possible because some yes and be compromise womo adwuma womo eye no BVDs hu sami enya ne tie say omo so ma auction bi enya ne tie say ebi yirae enya tie say ebi asai enne nse ba ku menu miense bi ekoso enne nanse nso ye sha say challenges how do I share na se for no. Your take on this, say, Mujina Bibia Mujina Noa, and now say, Mutuana Mofufrubi or dear Moshe. Patrimity.
Oko wono, Oja Fee in the cast. Now, after 4 or 5 years, no, if you know Crawford Beton Dano, I sat to talk as no way then.
Your son, Senny.
Oh, your son Senny pa. See, Senka, who can say saying America for? They say they are withdrawing the Millennium Challenge,
yes,
and not to come back anytime soon, right? Because they give us an opportunity and access to so much money,
$190 million
plus. For the power distribution sector, ECG nkwa come better to transformer, one better to way na and can you say baby we can say no.
David.
You see baby we can. Now the reason why we lost that contractual agreement is na yenim. Oma do come talk say some people were being fraudulent and idea. So I'm not going to talk about that. But I am cautioned by Sumpa. Say the car almost $7 billion. Yes, it is all dollars in the energy sector alone. Yes, and the physical cash car 608 billion Ghana cedis. Physical. a friend saying Cocoa Board, Edeka, PBC, you're close. A canamina and a mean. Forget about the fanfare, but the real issues are there. Say 608 billion Ghana cedis. So, but never buy a bit here. And then you buy a bit here. Say, IMF for 3 billion of the buy and way economy. What would they say? And the Kaya Kanu. So, in the end, say, 7 years in the Kaya Yabo and Yadia. I'll see you soon. Yes, but the Professor Wilkins, but I say, I'm a penny about for I what was your concrete and also your cement.
Doesn't have some Moka and Amoka. Not some no kind of debate. And no, I answer.
Of course, your cement and of course, your electrical cables.
Oh, man, they give good.
And Jacob, now, I wouldn't say elections, I say, a man be brave, especially in Africa. Today, if you go to the Sahel Republic countries now, Omuni democratically elected government, all of them, from Sudan to Senegal. Senegal, for they put the Adomna, a civilian Beshemu. To be under military rule, you know what it is. Oh, so yen de be a bomb say, my young call military rule because. If you are the head of state in Ukraine, what the soldiers are doing somewhere. What I was in Takrady when Jerry had to fly to Takrady to come and stop some army officers led by Agebwedi because they were just harassing and terrorizing market women. He went to Kofodia, you know, time one minister said, "Omin Timmy and for body and fee Kofodia and call any other place." To me, because of excesses, nobody wants to go near military regimes. So, in the constitution, it may not be as perfect as it is, but we put a lot of safeguard measures. Emma young go towards coup d'etat. Ebini said, "You be independent electoral commission. Obia enshano." But even that time, not as far as Jan, no be answer more. But we felt say, oh, it will be good say, but more independent. Good. And now, since electoral commission started, maintaining pennies themselves. What the budget are come out parliament? No. Today, the problem we face as a country is the credibility of our electoral system and electoral commissioner. Edi Kain, Komna Utina Kumasi, no better crying. Kumasi the near Frau. As a watcher. What is say? A ferry jan. I can send a typewriter cry rather. Typewriter cry rather. Now elections near the same conference of Ghana, even though the numbers have increased, but to an electronic system, the numbers matter. It doesn't matter. Electronic system matter, numbers don't matter. But this government has consciously tried to say, what best say your democracy. And let me explain why. You appoint electoral commissioner, Muhammad Charlotte say. Why you say you, could you be because service. Now you did a man, I said, service, so a gentleman, a catcher. And now, by a fiddy. My procurement offences. Kwankro, sa petition the banner yina got a young galobi in a year. Look at us. We have openly accepted, say, the needs of the first lady should be our electoral commissioner. As if that was not enough. They bring this young man as a bossman from University of Ghana. Everybody knows we're 10 for friends and Tescom for penning. Tescom or penning. Then they bring another one from Sunyani. bono and I knew Dr. Baumia Krakoy. No, you know, with the photo in view. What be any sifted to no was. What was that photo? See, conflict of interest come in 3 forms or 3 or more forms. The reality, the perception. The perception say, oh, and Sam is being engaging in conflict of interest. And even suspicion. So if you are a public officer, you try to avoid certain inomobia, senka first na waya no wajai. Yeah. They brought in this guy from Bono as a member responsible for IT. For the first time, IT equipments are Iraq. Oh, Bibi Anira, NDC for this as usual. IPAC. You try more machines now. You try Bontino. You try more machines now. Iran. You try machines Iran. The specifications. Now they have to accept. Yes. Now they have to accept. So the axiom is that if you are dealing with the devil, you use a long spoon. All right? Two elections. Today, the actual election presidential result, which has been gazetted, 5. You have members of the Electoral Commission insinuating, say, NDC or one political party is a threat to democracy. Say, Amambia, that day now, he should have been dismissed. No, true or false? Should have been dismissed because you are taking a biased position. And machines yira. As an institution, so machine yira, the first place of where your police station, you report to the police, say, your machines way yira. So the police will then come and say, okay, remove the CCTV camera, offense software nation, remove it and bring it to our lab. Within 2 weeks, one by a 2 weeks, who and who went for their machines. Okay? They haven't done that.
No.
But they are prosecuting some people.
Nothing here. Yeah. After the NDC,
they are prosecuting some people.
After NDC had made, you can say, we know the serial numbers. Yeah. And if you want to report to be, but Jacob, my say Ghana before about the Vitao. And he said, no more because I'm to me, and with the answer. Unim said, some time ago, there was this serial killing for women. Dance woman, serial killing. Until say, Obika said, Dabi, Mami ever call Mam Obayo Kunun, the same position. The same position. The same, Mamini, the same size. One journalist. Now, you didn't go to dance woman, who try photo. You didn't go to your friend's Greenland Hotel, no. Then tomorrow the same tomorrow friend. And so it's a could be a friend of Kwanzaa. Yeah. With the prison says here, when you be put Canasa man. Are you with me? Then again, there is this man called Sexy Dondo or whatever it is. At one time, they said about them. Some you a lawyer. Say, Obika say clients about them. What do you do? You find them a psychiatric evaluation. Once with them. Enra. Hopes not do self-confession. Say, it could be baby want to bomb dynamite.
Dynamite, yeah. Oh, for
so no one ya say there was an ambulance when you are parking Guma, yes, woman local voter region. All these backgrounds, I'm telling you, say there are background schemes in the political lives of Ghanaians. But once bitten, twice shy. NDC4 have been victims of what they call our indolence. And this time we are not going to do that.
That is
what we have simply asked is say, you have a number of BVD machines without anybody's discussion and everything. Yet you answer they are common scrap dealers. Okay, fine. You have the right to do that. That's right. But what do you call scrap dealers? No software. No woman. We and I say when. I'm not sure UC has the capacity to remove those softwares. So whatever information is in those, they could go scrap dealer.
Tema.
Yes, tema. Scrap dealer for coins. It is all these machines, they are called as scraps. Workers, who are the chief executive, who dispose of your computers now, who might delete information also. What they call. So what we are simply asking is, okay. The number of BBDs are Akano. Let us know their serial numbers. Now they were deployed for this election, this registration, okay, so that with the result in the bar, yet to me I reconcile like some machine will producing for 40, 20, 60, 100, and then you come my 500. Yakabone bank. Come now. Compromising. Meanwhile, as I come now, Sanopano, Oko police station now, polling agents, one of the requirements I saw fill a serial number of the machine.
I want you say you want
teacher what are the other form almost some registration. One of the things I saw filling form serial number of machines. So,
serial number there say
exactly. It is so at the end of the some of them result in they use 64 machines. Almost your numbers in into your market you register here. And yes, I'm corona. We so mama see the NDC for your pentoka. Yes, your pentoka. Your pentoka. The IN say you are asked to say elections are not won at the police station. No. We have accepted that. Elections are won at the police station. It's wrong. If you say that, then you are accepting election to be an event. But election is not an event. It's a process beginning from registration. It is one more year in the hall. No one check who registration now. But let me tell all Ghanaians to say the democracy that we are practicing, the alternative, and yet. Okay, the alternative, and yet. Until why you say, Uba in the 18 years, Manaka register. Once your name entered the machine, say with the 18 years, it will follow you to the end of your life because change of name age, Until she said, what is 16, who's the 18, right? Armed forces, they won't employ you when you are 25 plus. If they are not what the 21, now age is here 25, 26, and to me cost soldier. And in Kualana, I'm more politicians, and 500, some cultural mudino. You are harming your children. Civil service and public service, you cannot enter after a certain age. In fact, say when the bear 42 no person cost civil service, your age in the machine is telling you say what the 45 years. You cannot work. But politicians are born now or cultural need when you're the ex-gratia or go into our phone Miss Ma obia man the back coin I won the 18 years and control the if we say a baha aquadano, a be a footballer. Okay, or call a club you are bruche, because you are over age. Or soldier, because you are over age, because you have corrupted your age by 2 years or 3 years. It's our for Monsampa.
Okay, that's it.
Now, yay, NDC for there. Yay, I can say. Sir, I feel 2024 about 2. Say, Bama, a Japadia for you. I continue. It will be at the expense of our lives. Let me repeat what I said. We have met and decided, say, BBI elections we ever free, we will police it. We have shown you at Asen didn't we? Even Kumau, we showed you. And I mean what? We showed you, say, we arrested somebody, one of our own members. Your current inspector say, inspectors say, let us see what you have done. He had signed the form even before the election started. So we say, the figures no good out. Once I knew as a man of record. Yes, your mistakes. Ma obianka say, no or power intino, one hand over. Hey, you're now president. I won't hand over my penny. Stop those treasonous statements by sabotaging the constitution or the will of the people. Who say treason? Sir, you have no right so that someone hand over man. If you want Bawumia to continue your legacy, open a company. No money in Koya managing director Mawufi. But sir, the corporate state Ghana, we are all stakeholders. Yeah, because you have been the president, you must hand over to your successor. That one, nobody will allow you to do that.
We can say, Abani Yapakoto. Yes, yes, Mufidran about Kamanya baby in the title. Or my Ghana, yen name say, I may train which and some journey. Sa BVD name some say, if you registration the Kurampono, your computer idea, you may do baby and I also when you first a young man on a technical issue. See, many you see, pay for bidding common. As someone kind of say, not a network. I feel almost somewhere offline, and then who some quite brand new anyway. Some question I demand they are not edits for so more demanded. A door swan say, because a year daya serial numbers now a was machines no so. A year daya one more a trading about machine be used no and number so and so. It's a public a BBA a public documents will be able to be. And what team were coming in the market so about to even.
Before you go, let me say this openly. Say as I speak today, the election directorate, they have the serial numbers of all VVD machines. We have it. We have it. Okay. And so we have it.
My uncle, I know a casa man this, but you say, maybe there's no one casa back. I answer the question.
Say
you are lobbying, you are fighting, you want the serial numbers. First, agent in they have the serial numbers already. As you are saying, you say more the whole information there. So why are you fighting over it?
Did I say we are fighting over it?
Yes.
Cancel. Tell him.
Not you.
Evidence.
Not you. I said NDC is fighting over it.
Who has the right to produce evidence?
Uncle Abeg. I said you have it, and you are still fighting over it.
Authenticity.
Say you see infamous. But before I say na me question, me say me can be before. As someone who can say Nanado say one handing over Emma in the political party. Na just say the government. Nanado has never said that. Nanado said, I will hand over to MPP government. Inti, ono no de e bosha or the share the party for say.
Hand over.
Me hand over ama MPP.
When we near.
Say the all can na say so ye no ye na djuma pa.
Okay.
Na the nipa de we win no the man. He has no option. Yes. It is a or ye djuma pa. Na say o de be ma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia wa training no. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia dey mo ye dey be the president because no I said no bother that.
Obi say me kan kire o say of ankon no for no light of na anajo 1
no me dey work. I'm sorry but
that's me do me there asama na
so you ma light of me I was there me
that's the most annoying
me do me kan ya me dey
see asama no ya ka light of asama mo na
be obi say me try you so me say me dey mu ade a chi
and was a man like
me.
Who wanted them? Someone call you share. There's a problem there. There's a problem. It's been to us all. Inti Nanado, Obe hand over ma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because Oyabo Sheba. Didi Kano.
Bon Sheba.
Nanado, Obe hand over ma Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because Oyabo Sheba.
Only that. Only that's why Oyabo Sheba.
I'm not talking. Na Bosheba be answer no. Oyabo Sheba ntino. Obe ye de send the fata. sa bɔhyɛ no ebetimi abem nanado enka Tracy West bi ase say NDC wini a on hand over ma omo NDC should do things ebe mo wini enye yesi bebre election na limited registration yes here uncle can about people who are not 18 years and they want to register and blah 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 me back at 7 days no enya 18 years we fit school ebe fi me man register because 7 days you know or register the age ni so I increase by 7 me boy on register everybody is protecting his child and nobody will do that but when him say DHS for no and this for who say omo ye nkrofo on betimi ato abama MPP pa until they are putting some fears and then register and now waiting
only agent say so register
and until no register no and until no register no do sentence ni sesi ya o ti say 18 for no omo gu 18 years 4 months 18 years 20 18 years 6 months 18 years 7 months 18 years 9 months 18 years 1 month 18 years
11 months 18 years 12 months
18 years 1 week they are there they are doing the registration and they know things that they have got from the government MPP into number 2 about my MPP and that one is done my this for how enko be say ma omunko to aba omunko register ombe register registration dey omu ye when you 18 years old and 2 days abeto so ebisi omi ho ampan so ko fa the website buy no e wo ho just 2 days into one register na obe register
2 days abeto so na say free so
abeto so 18 years
say when you 18
no nsem bebe na NDC for ka say and am kala nkitin na omo register and na ye obi wa 19 years who ni body ha ni body ni ekitikiti nya football age bio enu ntina Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia o di process na sha ase no ye wo obi enne until me increase the age until me so that because there is good system oni enkoye ti say entafo me nu no a ba ko ye footballer na ba ko so nya footballer na ba ko ni film no ni age 34 me wa ni nua so under 17 enkoye sa we had a good process center for me no obako e footballer onu ni age no we under 17 but ba ko ni the film no a no bi twa na ye di ba no ni a 34 and now Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the incoming president, who say we are not helping ourselves. It is in your uncle who can ye, a futu, yajitum. So who call Ami? Nanka when you're 23 years. Nanka ye see a fa under 25. Who's who call register? Sa limited registration or to Obama MP. Any president in one increase age, one case of life, with that two baby. So that one, everybody will accept, say, any problem my end. Indeed, the serial numbers now are penny the uncle answer. Omo dada. They know. Omo agent no mutu ono. Omo come here. Omo chocho. Anopa no odu wa na the number no. Into the whole Ghana, everybody knows say machine we ni serial number ni. Machine we ni serial number ni. Omo wie na machine foforo bi ba. Na machine no ye say fi amasaman. Na serial numbers no eniwu agent na or ye adwuma no so a. You can challenge. Say offline no mo kono me ha me kakra wo kwa me so yes because yes say omo guarantee man crofo no untimi guarantee more than 10 into no original no say system no ye adwuma nipa ne guarantee up to 10 no ano e be end but now you depend paper na ye tro na nipa no ye tro na edu ba bia wa ye 15 16 me ba o so mo wie no mo ye input no na nipa na guarantee am nipa 15 na what happened say nipa no asamutu no me boa eti ye de and your house education say wo guarantee make sure say wunya more than 10 even though offline they told me no omo ma register that no omo san register biom no because of omo offline enti no omo hu no at that moment no just omo wie no ma your input na so no be hu say eja kopra o register wo eyi tama na wo ya safache no na wo ye jase no wa ha o register wo kuma se wa sam register wa ha eja kopra wo die ni die e be delete kura nti omo so omo nye careful say unkonko register me no na mom so wo card na yira from 30th right? 30th. From 30th to I think second or about 4 days. Wa card ya no so ko na ka say me card ayira e be boa. It is no man ketin when you say man crofo hu say registration na ye no. Obia de nkrofo ba o. When we are saying say people are biasing people are there were 75 communities. Registration center near Bakope. And you walk mobile a year, no baby me and sape. It baby a motit in a muchi kakra. School for number fee. Obi di car could see could do a son. No person didn't call about Amasamana. It's not about passing people because Amasamana is center Nankasa. Mobile one there 2 days, 3 days. Almost few hours. In the center, no, yes, will be aba. In the media, make a job, say, and now in Case, who train mobile registration.
No, this go better anyway.
And one thing I have almost say, Omumia Center.
Mobile.
Yes. No, be such a picture, say, yeah, Basin for me, one the same person who will pick up and be. Ah, no, so the Inco for. Or no, the ano. So, Musa Munintino. There's a one Basin for.
Me that's it.
But, Obi dear, Omodos room to a Basin for.
Me that's it.
Obi a any from the year, obetimi akọ. Uncle can say elections are now won from the polling station. When we talk about the polling station, it's where we have started now. They have started a process. Into process, no one you are year na ko see the due day na ye di kokromoti ni kwa kotem so. Na ye to aba no already you have defeated already.
Okay.
Because one year we no ma ye.
Okay.
Ama ye di a normal for wase.
Okay.
E di yan starting nene NDC as a party. Mumia mani say mu be hwe police station.
We can say me that say.
Na yem koye nim.
Me that say.
Enye say dia e be do be no NDC for ka say enya form so.
Ya we dey.
Ya go me na mitam ni so akora.
Me that say. Me pese unsa wo
time adosu grant.
Who say?
O Frank Bera enam.
Yes asempa yetia.
O Frank Bera.
Obi o ka no ko bia na asem yetia.
O Frank Bera enam na obo apro. E na oka. Wa shebo say churches. Sorry. One moment they say omoka instead of being taxed. And see, say no, no, mentiasio. Say and sorry, no. One more, the churches should rather be paid instead of being taxed. Also, me sign the promises are all and be.
And the churches, and no, they said until who
shall until
incentives. Just before I go to those promises, just a little one on the EC issues. No, I think that both MPP and NDC agree that registration started there were issues. What it means is that I'll say EC, emaneni, a baffle. Of course, we know the challenges with the offline. Although, to say, Akobane said because of network challenges, they're normal use. But I also think that Omar Asho said 21 days in the sona backlog or more extended days, which is a good thing. But listening to both sides, I think that Yeninayin said 2024 is a very, very crucial, very crucial and important election. Not many politicians be doing common more than more chain na more come and bad over apologize or diabolic. Na mean say I was in just only man the crop.
What's the miss?
Apparently or diabolic, which is it's not for the decent and omube the ombet me idea. Inti sebi me na na kan say atwetwe right and because both of them have held power, they know what it takes. And I guess that's why EC and Pembe Breno is in the crosshairs with the opposition. Because Obianim, what the
opposition is fighting.
Yes, almost every time opposition is EC come. But I think that it is a nothing I will say EC a living above board. And I think that it's very unfortunate say NDC for who say BVDs as a BVRs IRA. And they had to push for it to become news. I think that EC should have lived above board and reported any BBIRA. I also common a tuja.
No, but EC a report to issue.
It was actually NDC which pushed.
Report to issue first. And send an NDC for Babeka say. EC for no,
NDC for complaining. They say some
BBIRA. Initially, no, must be BBIRA. Every action of say laptop. Every chance a DVD. I say be no crack with the baby. It's almost I think 10 regions.
I'm making the point.
Request almost some family.
The fact that NDC4 brought it up, and I think there were even challenges saying and all of that. But I think NDC, whatever game they are playing, seems to be maybe a mastermind, because BVD is no. I didn't understand why they were making a lot of noise around it until say Omo requested for serial numbers, and then EC turns around and says, "Oh, but Obi serial number now, they can influence the election." And then I'm like, wait a minute. So when they were saying say BBI Rano compromise now, I was convinced saying no problem. You know, but all of a sudden now we know say from EC no. So be a serial number cry, he can influence the election. So how much more the machine itself? So what I'm saying is that I think say if this election is critical enough, then it is in our all is in all of our interest. EC particularly will leave above board. Of course, both parties should guard the trust we give them. So I expect that they are competent enough to protect the ballot. Into ammonia vigilant as they are being, they should police the system such that we would, wherever we exercise our trust, they would protect the integrity of the trust. That's all I would say. Now on the Bosheba, I think Genya Neka said Bosheba. The Bosheba is Shebo.
Dr. Mahmoud
Bosheba was Shebo. Shankom.
Bosheba.
Oh no, as a woman being no
Shankom.
And me need to on some of the issues.
And that's it.
And I think that the bigger problem is credibility, however, because
it's going to deliver.
The point is, some of the policies, Sebi, if you're right thinking, there is no way you argue with that. The problem, I will come to this part. The problem, however, is so so for me, I think that his biggest problem is credibility on those policy choices. But I personally think that his policies around taxes is, and I say, tax here they buy tax in Chichiro Maibia. You have the productivity in the Chichiro man. And then your ideas around productivity and your taxes, you need to enable good tax systems, low taxes, send your productivity back cultural. So his promises around taxes are things I think that will be good. Waka corruption technology wasem. Quite before so the technology a bit too corruption I say. I hear him, and I think say but then he tells us about ECG for ransomware or sabotage ECG collection, and then I'm asking myself, from there being technology, but cyber security which means if ultimately technology is your pathway, I think now say UK was in the news, say China as a BB has attacked them, and we all know say the moment you want to go technology full scale as we are going, things like ransomware and cyber security, but I'm in that space. I do work around that space. I don't think say marchi say quite fast digitize, I don't think we're matching it with the need around the cyber security issues. That's what I will say on that. Eja, on the Mineral Development Bank and whatever that is, Sebi me, I agree. Say we need to own the resources, but I don't know how a new bank will solve the problem. Yenimse Galamsey is a big problem. I don't know how you solve Galamsey with a new bank. So those are some of the things I probably don't understand. Particularly on the churches, I think that ultimately, whether the architecture of Europe or Ghana, we know that churches and faith-based institutions contribute. And that's almost the Nyama Bibre, I can't on my home. You hear schools Bibre, me Odian Quanta de Baja, Adeba Kwan Mifi Agugo. Me fi Asante Achimagu. Okay. Now, Agugwa, Presby, sorry. The entire Nipa Bibre, Presby for Agugo, ne say, schools, ne hospital, ne Yamani sorry, Newman. Until when they said, then government is contributing, and I said, sorry, is contributing to nation building. Tax incentives or tax exemptions, yenim say omuntia taxes. Whether or not tell them more incentives and now you exempt them, I don't think is here or there. Yenim say people have commercialized churches, so we know say some people sorry say omude a business into akofa sofo ato ano and or jijiska no. I think there's a conversation around that.
Okay.
Into all of those ones, but Ejanema 9, just briefly.
Briefly,
MPP, NDC man who crime MPP branded Yera Mahama, ex-president, as incompetent. And it's stuck, really stuck. And in leadership, usually we say there are 4 dimensions. So obi abato we are econo, Nyema 9 nebia I was saying nipa adwemba so the kind trustworthiness and honesty say nipa ne kan okre, which is what we call integrity dimension. So ultimate stake obi say be oni no kra ana say onye trustworthy wahano the toso me enu your competence dimension, leadership dimension say nubuodru or ya there buodru, and then the compassion, which is the last dimension. Yako abatu em nyina no, I think say the branding is happening, the campaigning is happening, but yen nyina no ye ma ani nko ho say ye be obi a Ghana no ba bia ye gina ne nye ye be obi a who is not just tainted because obi a branding no or ye say onye onka no kra nti, but I think say yem nyina ye ma ani nko, so let's interrogate the fact and let's go for obi a obehwe Ghana no ye MPP near NDC, MPP near NDC.
Okay,
but let's think about the country.
Me that's it. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia can say yen first tia ne mano na ye dis tia ne mano a nema besesa obehwe mo mana tumi akora nim tia no minimu a se ye na replica e no mo ye you se dan yo ye hwe video we
kejima for
na fi o call bono mantamu no omo di steer bi e ma nti ye hwe video no na fe your excellency ne friend say Wilkinson Masima en kasana video na ready video na ne hwe na pro a wo bo no ene nsama wo kan eti mampani abedi akire na obo nsam aba be no
abo abe no kwa na bie omo mu ya so ma yade o se wo vision a eboa wo omo man stia na na opeso okitemu no
okay stia na nie
stia no o makasa hu we ntisen bi anim Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so stia no na esi ya waso mu no ha okokra okok
when say onye stia no open dia I say ne asem na sa
asa chese enomani de ototo ye kwa ye nim on say e ko mama ntansi ye na menkasa
thanks be se mamienu
ayi nyamisi yanka nokre Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so wosi yanka stia na ide amana no asemo a ye ade bi a ye di kai no say o kan say yanfa stia na ma no nti techima hon techima omo di stia no hye ne sa no one starting a juma pa oh yeah
for na the man no
Ghana for omo woni Ghana for
me nka say o man be so for na the man me se hefo ekuo be mu for na the man no
na me say ye party na owo mu no ene techimanfo ene dia hye ne sa say o kan stia na asem wo ntie dia ma na de enwonwa kra ne say oba be wie na omo bo aben no aben no a sign of giveaway so he's coming like Kakai baabi a ɔbɛdu a ɛkwan ne si biara no ɔbɛbiem ɛma no akɔ n'anim Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia yɛ bɔhyɛ ba sɛ meka sɛ bɔhyɛ ba yɛ sɛ yɛte ho ase sɛ ne yɛtie biara no ɔno ne kramoni a wɔdi kan a ɔbɛdi Ghana mampanin ɛwɔ Ghana ha na yɛ adeɛ a ɛbɛyɛ adwuma ɛfi
no Dr. Hilary Man no yɛ ya
Dr. Hilary Man o sɛ no yɛ dɛ no sɛ NDC for sɛ yɛyɛ mma nkramofo kwan ma ɔmo di president
me say Dr. Hilary Man
me nim suma wo som but
Liman suma no
me nim but Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia deɛ yɛn nyinaa nim sɛ wɔyɛ kramoni a ɔba bɛ lead Ghana ama Kristofo nyinaa aho atɔ ɔmo wɔ kwan bi so because sɛ yɛka sɛ nkramofo ntimi ni ɔman wei so wa
wan ka sɛ
o nyɛ sɛ bebree
meba
yɛka kɔ wa ndɔ ma mita yɛka meka sɛ mi kɔ dɔ ma mita
baby a okeka kɔ
no
dabi baby a okeka de akɔ no me pese be so bi so beka say esese Kristofo ne di oman no so ebi o me pese sa dabi
obi sa me di anka meka o nka ba meta me di
ameka me ma onka because our religious and tribal ayi ne dia me pacho and dey
me ka be say aso bi so say sa no man ne yesi yi fi ho because onu so ye Ghana ni
dabi obi anka sa awo platform yi so ntim pese bebam
awo ye platform
yes ntim me pese bebam
ebi ni maka ne chi
ntim me pese bebam wo ha ye nka obi anka bia sa wo ha me da se
enti Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia a wo ye boshe ba no omampani kufo eye oja nanado eye oba ena Bawumia eye konkron no na eja no esuma oba ne mane ba ye no between emeka krebi no o ha obi ba ho ntu hwa Tama kufo efi ho no NDC fo ba be hye ho NDC fo fi ho no ena omudima na adodanko akufo ado enu nti na nanado se okọ na Ghana fo odi bọhye ba a wote se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia a ono ne yehu nkonkron no odi beja yen nti ya de da ho pefe
me da se yes sorry
yeah na Professor Wilkins wakasa na meti kra ya
wa
asa asem ne mu edu
because when him say asema waka no eni nyina so bia so ko be kan tintintin we branded Mahama mischievously so we're incompetent because the CD $2 rate was 1 to 4 cedis 33 pesos. And that's why Bawumia was having lectures, incompetent, corrupt, incompetent. With the same facts, what would you say about the dollar rate now? So 1 CD to 4 CD 33 pesos, incompetent. The 1 CD to 13 or 14 CDs, now you're dying.
A crisis.
A tragedy.
Because of crisis, something happened.
It's not come now. Now, fuel, that 1 liter, now you're saying 14 cedis or so. Today, 1 gallon. I don't know, one more ton gas of 1 better and one more can prices are something. Time is for such discussions because we will do that academically and scientifically. And yet, the obey Bosheba, any definition of Bible, any definition of baby, I just say, I'm okay. They said Mahama was incompetent. Say, I can't answer. Today, almost around Mahama was say, Wawinamnaka and Dompe. When you ask them of the facts, they cannot relate to the facts. Tell my Professor Mills Wohono, and now Professor Kufo, a day, and son of Mills Seban, and yet this single spine, a buyer. In a single spine, almost everybody was looking for increment. Whereas the idea was say, you migrated all allowance, you consolidating that to Ghana, you a wage bill, no, then you continue. Unfortunately, Mahama buy a pet. And nurses for you, there, doctors for you, no catch and say, listen, as a country, we have depleted our economy. Ya read them now, manaka don't pay. so penny man penny kasa na we badwin ba wo beti ase se wo papa kasa sa che o je se no boto ma dwo kakra e je ko na yesa ana mo ya he o se wa we na ma kadompi and then make us say you na make us say am here ya yankobo be say you ntumi ntia wakaska. So we went on. It's true, the media and the MPP did not allow NDC to defend themselves. Jacob, now, my assignment.
Okay.
For NDC Manifesto 2020, which you call the People's Manifesto, I will tell you the pages. Ubehu Digital Ghana. Right? Digital Ghana. And it just did not give it as a slogan. Whatever idea ya to digitalize Ghana. Ebini NCA build na yesi ya no. Fiber optics na ya no. And Accra Digital Center. Physical things are facilitating sa policy. It's in the NDC manifesto. Because we thought said digitalizing the economy and your policy and your government actions. And now we say e-governance. E-governance was set up a time, long time ago. Then he said, oh, I said, they say, Obama disabled persons, tertiary universities free of charge, free. And look at the tertiary policies of the NDC in the 2020 manifesto. They see the manifesto, the Bawumia and say, because NDC did not get a chance to come to government, while far NDC manifesto and all that him. Next week.
Okay, next week.
Almost 12 stop it.
No, uncle, don't say that. Don't say that.
Stop it.
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has a
Mepacho.
No, man no so kasa.
David.
Obi kan wa bontin dia, ma yen kan wa ha. Sumpa me boa. Sumpa me boa.
Wo ba ka kasa no. Me be kasa na wo age ento waje badwuma na okay.
Messi, so we be NDC manifesto. There's a whole chapter on digital Ghana. And no ma ya ye no. Me kan yi me offer si wa hu say NCA building say si wo. Across digital center nsa wo. Fiber optic nsa wo. And ya fire no na kan yo. There's difference between digital applications and digitalization, right? When you want to digitalize, you put the infrastructure and everything there.
Okay.
I to say electricity. You have to lay the cables, wire the house, and some of our no they are better, or they are better. And I've told you also, sir, we are NDC tertiary policies now. Sir, disabled now, we training university free no. We can next week.
The next week, Fabra. Now on so far
NDC manifesto I am a papa na me say my late me san ko fa baby
enye hwe wo de wo fa bra wo de ba na ye hwe de wo se wo mu a
wa fa me say ba wo mi afa NDC manifesto na tunanum
na o tipo say no kwa say enye no kore ono so say enye sa na tie ono
wa ni vision
o de ba
ba wo mi vision ye di echa ye ni bobo ba wo mi vision
you say me Medasi.
What express go one day na still we we are vice president. And the would take him shall be agent ball. We don't have to say what is here walk teaching man. No for Asante. He still never was what could you Bob? I call you correct.
Medasi. Ono so say form say na na no kalipu every be senko enti
kalipu ni so on my petition dia so on my petition dia and ka say baba omo mukta flash ko yazo ayi ni mu mukta flash ayi ni mu de
so me da say
kalipu dia we say kalipu prado ko o ma
na ya Dr. John John Kwachen so ya danase me da se nti me da mo ase se mo bae na ya di si ha na me da product
next week
Shambi adum ne ba fa MPP manifesto no fabra musumi de NDC manifesto me baba
sana me kan enti me da se
the song say last week another week my colleague Patrick Kubo our car baby yeah best na debi ayeba
was 17 before Friday
MC na former MC na car baby no Shebusuya no e mo shede
Friday okay so I will spend my 17th birthday before the Saturday
okay
Friday is
my wife Esther
all right tell us na ebe sorry so no ene Carlos na Kofiadu ene na woda ne papa Dani o UTV he ya IT department intinu Carlos o papa say me can't so my happy birthday sanso ena yo okay me ne band no the Sunday me say and so that birthday dey na ejane oba mo nyina mo di birthday there that's wonderful and afa Gladys Darko wo ton full accessories or circle tiptoe lane and na wa woda if Lydia mugri ho o say yakopon enhira opa Friday coming Friday Debbie Friday until Adechi Saturday na dia boss until happy birthday to you in advance na you maintain papa ne wo mre na abra ode ba ha bri ma menka wo Saturday am shey perfect man for and a pound man obaka say bia you already made Ghana he ya ansa no na perfect man memo number na wafre omo wo we say up and down color bi opebia design bi opebia no ombe pam e de ama wa perfect baby abeku bia St Philip Enterprise wa Accra to do womo na eton ni nyina from e was 0244 147212 0244 147212 na momu no ene Dr. Kwabena Dapa si akwan Dr. Dapa ene na woda entigency amoafo nyinara onsufo nyinara prempe kifi club okumase ana friends for nyinara ni almighty concern for say ma happy birthday doc ene ye nyinara beba na ya be tawochi na wadi wa woda no ama no afefe na kama na me sorry so na nakwadwo boate bebi a obi anope me moache echi ebusuafo nyinara na Mother's Day enti enano mu nyinara ye mamu nyinara happy Mother's Day yenim se modo ye yenso ye domo me mama enti ase na so eden ya me oda no bebre wo ho a me ntu bubo mu din ne ntu ye na wo ye na panko ade a me ma happy Mother's Day pa nyakopo enshiro ye be celebrate no nyakopo enshiro bibia adomdom ye ne a dasene ye be senhia yakra mu nyina